To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, first thing we have on the agenda tonight is a 2025 CDBG hearing at 6 p.m. and go. Mr. Ferguson.
Appreciate that, thank you. I'd like to address a couple housekeeping items up front. There are two sign-in sheets, one for the regular Board of Selectmen meeting, one for my public hearing, which should take all of 10 to 15 minutes. So the state requires me to get my own sign-in sheet to include with the application, which I'm going to ask for a motion for. And then I've got a handout I'm going to pass around as well.
When do you want the motion?
At the end.
All right.
And there's instructions at the end there. Okay. My name is Joe Ferguson with the Central Mass Regional Planning Commission. We have an office in Worcester, and we've been working with North Brookfield for a number of years through the Community Development Block Grant, CDBG, but also a number of other offerings such as open space, one stop, and whatnot. Tonight's focus is for the FY 2025 CDB application round. Like I said, it is a required hearing, and the purpose is to propose a motion for the board at the end of my oral presentation to submit an application, funding application on behalf of the town of North Brookfield, which is due on April 14th. Program background. CDBG is a program from the 1970s, enacted by Gerald Ford. It is federal funding that comes through the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development. In Massachusetts, there are 11 entitlement communities which are granted larger federal funds automatically. So these larger cities, Worcester, Lowell, Lawrence, get a direct wire of funding, and they do not have to compete for funding. Whereas non-entitlements, which is where North Brookfield sits, has to compete on an 18-month basis by submitting funding proposals. Projects under CDBG must meet one of three national objectives. The first one being benefit to low to moderate income populations. What that means is if we're doing a proposed infrastructure improvement on a street, we have to verify that 51% of the residents are low to moderate income based on federal statistics. The other 49% does not matter. The second national objective is preventing or eliminating what the federal government calls slums and blight, and that is a very archaic term from the 1970s. What that means is really eliminating or preventing deteriorated conditions. That can be buildings, that can be municipal assets such as parks, town commons, and your typical design and construction infrastructure projects, which North Brookfield has been doing. Importantly, we are having that discussion on that national objective for future funding years, and thank you for the town for engaging with me on that. Elderly and disabled persons are generally considered to meet the low and moderate income criteria. And then I spoke about the deteriorated conditions one. The third national objective, which is used very rarely, is for special circumstances, natural disasters. I believe it's been used in Massachusetts once, but over 25 years ago. CDBG is, in my mind, very important or valuable to these small towns because there's no match, there's no municipal budget outlay at all. This is a 100% grant through the federal government that flows to the state and then flows down to these towns. So there's no municipal outlay, there's no matching funding required. And lastly, the state, in terms of competitiveness for applications, and a number of your peer towns in the region will be submitting applications as well. But importantly, sorry this map is small, but the state does assign a needs score. The headline here is the light yellow, Worcester's right here, North Brookfield's right over here. The lighter yellow have lower needs scores. The darker red has higher needs scores. North Brookfield, similar to the previous fiscal year, is at a 9, which makes them much more competitive funding than surrounding towns. So what projects are being planned and discussed for this fiscal year 25 application that's due on April 14th? Last month, on the 25th of February, we held a community development forum in here sharing information on our due diligence for coming up with an eligible project. We were focused on the west side section, and we did due diligence to qualify some streets based on the low to mod income national objective. Those weren't panning out as we thought they were based on the data we were working with, and we found out that projects would not qualify over there. In coordination with the town departments and the community, we switched our focus over to the east side neighborhood around the town's town common area, and in coordination with water department, sewer department, highway department, we are looking at proposing a design construction improvement on the entire length of South Common Street. The pavement, the roadway pavement is in decent shape. The sidewalks are in fair to poor, and so is the subsurface infrastructure. We're proposing design construction improvements between Grove and Forest on South Common, as well as the entire length of St. Clair, which runs perpendicular to South Common. Based on conceptual estimates and knowing the funding limit for the FY25 application is $850,000, we think this is a right-sized project. Our initial concept for this may be a phased project, but right now it does fit within that budget, and we are earmarking it at about $725,000. Again, this is all grant funding, which would pay for the design, engineering, and then putting out a bid for construction. There is general administration involved in the grant, and the state allows towns to take up to 30% in general administration, as CMRPC is the town's grant manager for CDBG. We take about 13 or 15%, so we don't go up that high, and we're earmarking about $125,000 for grant administration, which Ms. Ashley Berry here can tell you is very arduous in terms of reporting, accounting, advertising. We do all the procurement of engineering, all the invitation for bids on construction. So again, single project, design construction improvements, South Common with St. Clair. The project selection process included our community development forum held on the 25th. We've had website and social media posts. We've been doing neighborhood in-person outreach on South Common and working with the Housing Authority, as well as the residents on St. Clair. We advertised our public hearing tonight, and thank you to Ashley and town staff for coordinating that. The town clerk had it on the website and in the Telegram and Gazette. We also had a very nice article written in the Quabog Current based on our CD forum on the 25th. So application timing, again, we've been told with what's going on at the federal level that the application date might change. That has not changed yet. So we're being told by our state reps and our federal reps that this date is in place, and we're moving forward with that. And based on history, we anticipate decisions or awards later in summer, fall 25. My contact information is at the bottom of the handout. If anybody has any questions, if anybody would like to be involved and have ideas if we're going forward with the next round of CDBG, we'll be planning that later in the summer. But at this time, if there's any questions, I'd be happy to answer them here, and then ask the board to propose a motion.
So Brooke, do you have any questions?
Yeah, can you describe what might be happening at the federal level that would prevent or change the due date?
Sure. We believe these funds for this federal fiscal year have already been allocated.
Okay.
We were told that if that was not the case, the date would change, and that has not happened. So we're moving forward based on that information.
Thank you.
Anything else?
Yes. I just wanted to ask about the sidewalks. So, as you know, we have a Parks and Rec team.
Correct.
And are you planning to work with them regarding like sidewalks and some of those areas that might overlap the common at all? Because I know they have some plans.
Absolutely.
For, okay.
Last week, we had a meeting in town. Mr. Brandon Avery joined us with Jamie Flamond and Eric from Sewer. We discussed those sidewalks. We were just talking about granite curbing in my concept estimate. Yes, sidewalks are in play for South Common, and I'm working closely with Brandon on that.
Perfect. Okay, great. Thank you.
Anything else?
Nope, those were mine.
Anybody have any questions for Mr. Ferguson? Going once? Twice? All right. Looks like you're off the hook.
Some good questions on the 25th.
All right. Now you need the vote? All right. I'll entertain a motion to support and approve the submission of a fiscal year 25 CDBG application, including the activities as presented today with allowance for minor budget or program adjustments, and to authorize the chair and CFO to sign all documents required for the application.
So moved.
I'll second. Any discussion?
Nope.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very
Great.
much.
It's exciting.
All right. The next thing we have, while Mr. Ferguson's here, is the Haley Ward change order and the Amarillo pay application. Do you have a copy of the change order?
It's in your packet.
Well,
No,
I was asking Joe.
Oh,
I do not have a copy with me.
I have a copy.
Okay.
Haley Woods?
Yeah, 'cause
Yep.
I was wondering if you could explain the change order?
Sure. Actually, is there a letter? See that? Yeah, thank you. At a high level, it's based on the delays of the project. Some unknown quantities from estimating as well. But unfortunately, mainly due to the slow and not great performance of the contractor.
Okay. All right. And the increase is $27,072.06.
That's the contract, that's the contractor change order.
Okay.
Haley Ward's change order is for $31,000.
And their engineering?
Their engineering. And based on my analysis with the grant account, with these change orders in play, there is still grant funding left over if the town approves these change orders. There's still a balance of approximately $40,000 in grant funding that's available for use that has not been claimed or obligated at this point. If it is not used, it will never be claimed, but there's a $40,000 balance in grant funding after the original engineering contract.
So what happens if it's never claimed?
We just don't.
Well, I know we lose it, but where's it go?
We actually don't, so the grant, the state doesn't give us the money, so we don't have to return it, we just claim it on a basis. So if there's
Back to
a
the state.
$40,000,
Okay.
yeah, we wouldn't claim it.
Alright. I'll entertain a motion to pay the Haley Ward change order.
So moved.
I'll second. So motion's been made and seconded. Any discussion?
No, I mean, other than being frustrated that, is there,
What was it, Haley Ward or the contractor?
oh, you said Haley Ward was, sorry,
It's
separate.
not the engineer's fault.
Yeah, sorry, never mind.
Any more discussion?
No,
All in favor?
aye,
Aye.
thank you.
All right. And do we have one for the contractor as well?
Yeah, that's that 27,000
Yep.
figure that you just referenced on pay app 3.
All right.
That's the $27,072.06.
And so that's in regards to, what's the 27,000 cover?
Quantity increases in the field, which were triggered by pay app 3. I'm not sure if they're highlighted on the analysis sheet, but they're on the analysis sheet.
They're not highlighted that I can see.
It should be the far right column. There were some savings and then some overages.
And this is all because of time?
Not necessarily overages in quantities, no. Police detail would be time related.
All right. What else would be time related, do you know?
I know one other timing issue besides their personnel schedule, they did take delivery of a fire hydrant that the distributor sent the wrong model. They're eating that. I don't think it shows up in that. They're eating that time. But besides that, just shortage of crew. We've had, some workers would not show up on certain days. Our resident engineer out there,
Hard to find good help.
yeah.
Do you know where on, oh, traffic officers, there we are. So that's quantity. It says 99.1935. Is that the actual hours?
I would have to
It's under
check
quantity,
on that. It should, yeah, hours should be, it should be hours.
all right. And then, so the total completed and stored is 21,578.
In the police detail.
And that's the
hours.
change order because they were taking too long.
Partial. Yeah, it's,
This isn't for before they went over, it's for after they went over.
I believe so, after they went over. Yeah. Also, one more note, we take out 5% retainage out of each invoice. So there's three, so the contractor has 3 pay apps in play right now. The first 2 have been approved and paid. We withheld 5% from each of those pay apps. If pay app 3 is approved, we're holding 5% retainage out of that. Right now, that retainage amount is approximately $21,000, which the town should hold on to for repairs, whatnot. If you want to talk about police detail, I would try to address that at the end of the project through the retainage we're holding that will not be released without your approval.
Are they gonna need more details?
We don't think so for punch list, loam and seed, once we can here in a few weeks, and then they will be done. And then through your FY '24 CDBG grant, we will go out for a new invitation for bid to complete Mount Pleasant Street. There's enough documentation we've had on the performance of the contractor that if this contractor submits a bid for the forthcoming, you have enough documentation to not consider them if you want. So,
So the retainage is more than what we've paid, what they want in details. It says 21,578.
that's right, that's the retainage. Yeah.
All right, I'll entertain a motion to approve the change order
So moved.
for Amarillo.
Mhm.
I'll second. Discussion?
No, that's it.
I do have a real problem paying for the details because they went over. Just because it's a grant doesn't mean that they should still get it. It's still taxpayer money. And I guess we'll take that up in retention.
I think, and I can work closely with you there when we get to the retention point.
All right. All in favor?
Sheila has a question.
Oh, Sheila.
Can I just ask, if we had 40 still unclaimed, where does the rest of this come from? Right, you said we had about 40 unclaimed in the grant?
Yep, that is
You're taking 31?
even after,
That's
Oh,
after
yeah,
these,
even
after
after.
both of these,
Yeah.
yeah.
And isn't the retainer usually kept for repairs of things that they don't follow up on?
that is one option. Typically, retainage is kept until they complete their work satisfactorily, and then that's the final payment. I don't think we're there yet. You guys have some things to consider on that.
Well, if we're only retaining $22,000, and that's what the details are, and then, you know, they don't complete things, then we're out even more, so I'm to the accountant's point, I'm really not liking this whole situation. So, did we vote on that?
No, you didn't.
No, we were just about to.
All right, can we, all right, well, I guess, all in favor?
Aye.
No. All right. All right, we can talk about it after, Joe.
Sure. Thank you, Jason.
You're welcome. All right, where am I? All right, Finance Committee. I haven't had a chance to review your request entirely, but if you want to explain it, and we can bring it up again afterwards, you know, at our next meeting, that would be great.
Yeah, can we put it off till the next meeting?
You want to put it off completely?
I think that would be better. Joe is a big driver in this, and I think he should be heard.
Okay. We don't have to vote on anything if you want to talk about it, but,
Well,
you
he
know.
might want his voice heard. I don't know.
Well, we could talk about it again, you know,
Oh.
but, are you all of the same mind? Talk about it later?
Correct.
Okay,
Okay.
so be it. All right, so we have resignations. First one is, so we'll read them both and then we'll vote on them together. So we have, I, Andrew McDermott, am writing to inform you that I will be resigning from my position as a heavy equipment operator effective on March 7th, 2025. I found a better opportunity with a different town. Sincerely, Andrew McDermott. The second one is due to a hostile work environment and being harassed for my salary by the highway super, I regret to inform you I will be giving my notice to leave my position as town mechanic effective March 5th. Sincerely, Scott Slawski. All right, I'll entertain a motion to accept those two resignations.
So moved.
Second, any discussion?
No.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Next. We have a recommendation from the highway superintendent to hire Dennis Kimball from Witt Drive as a mechanic for the highway. He has sufficient mechanic experience to meet the demands of the role, and I'm confident in his ability to perform his duties as a mechanic. And then we have his resume here. So Randy, would you want to introduce Mr. Kimball?
Yep, this is Mr. Kimball.
If you want to give us a quick rundown of maybe a little bit of your experience and why you want to work for North Brookfield.
Well, for one, it's my hometown. Number two, I don't travel to Worcester every day. I am present, I am working at once, I put in my notice Friday. And I was working for the Providence and Worcester Railroad. And I just decided I was there for 5.5 years. It's a good place to work, I can't complain. And everyone that I worked with, very good team players and all. But I just really wanted to come closer to home. And am I familiar with everything's on my resume that what I've done in the past. And I'm sure I can serve you people really good.
Okay, thank you.
I'll entertain a motion to appoint Dennis Kimball to the Highway Department.
So moved.
I'll second. Any discussion?
No?
I third.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Welcome aboard. Does he need to get sworn in? Or no?
Technically, yeah. I can't do it, the town clerk has to, but you can do it after you're officially working and you filled out all your paperwork with the treasurer and stuff.
Okay.
Welcome aboard. All right. We have an old street sweeper. Kathy, don't start trouble during a meeting, you know better. So we have an old street sweeper down at the new highway barn, and we have had an offer from Brookfield to sell it to them for $4,000, $5,000. And we've been told it's worth $7,000.
10.
It's 10 now? All right. Randy, you wanna give us some insight on that?
Well, so Scott had told me that he had called CN Wood, which obviously he didn't. And he's the one that started the deal going.
Yep.
And then I called CN Wood to get a value on it, and they came back with its value at around 10,000.
Mm-hmm.
We don't use it, they've used it for the past 3 years.
Yep. What do you think the odds are getting more than 5 for it are in the current market?
I'd say they're pretty good. Can we put, I mean, you can put it out to bid, right, instead of,
Yeah, we could do that, see what happens.
I just set up a new account with a online state bidding thing, so.
Okay. I think it's worth trying for that, I mean. And see where it goes.
All right, I'll entertain a motion to put the old Elgin sweeper out to bid.
So moved.
Second, any discussion?
No.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Next thing we have is a quote to have the cleaning done at the town offices. It's a once-a-week service. And they have the entryways and common areas, emptying the trash, replace liners, dust all furniture, dust all the wall hangings, clean and polish the entry area glass, dust all countertops and high areas, disinfect light switches and door handles, vacuum all areas, mop all hard surfaces, and then in the restrooms, empty the trash and replace liners as needed, clean and disinfect toilets and sinks, acid clean toilet bowls as needed, disinfect light switches, handrails, and door handles, vacuum floors, wash floors, and in the offices, empty trash, replace liners, dust furniture, dust wall hangings in high areas, clean and disinfect any countertops, vacuum all areas, and mop any hard surfaces. And it's once a week for $300 a month. I'll entertain a motion to approve PD services for cleaning of the town offices at $300 a month for what they quote here.
So moved.
I'll second. Any discussion?
No?
That's $75 a week.
Yes.
Is that right? 300 a month?
Yep.
That can't be right.
That's what they're
That's
offering.
what they quoted.
Yep.
Do they do houses?
That's what I was thinking.
Sign them up quick.
Seriously.
So,
Take two.
all right. Any discussion?
No?
Mr. Tripp?
Are they the ones that are doing the senior center?
Yes.
And they're doing okay over there?
Yeah, from what we've heard, it's been
Yeah,
great over
good
there,
feedback,
so,
good
yeah.
feedback, yeah.
Yeah, well, if they're happy over there.
And they gave a quote for the police station too, but I'm not sure. They
Gave
gave
what?
They gave a quote for the police department, but that's up to them to decide if they wanna.
Yep.
Oh, all right, well, if the senior center is,
We waited until we found out they were happy and then had them come in and do a quote for us, so.
okay.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right.
So this next thing is like an energy saving,
Mhm.
and it's just authorizing this company to apply for the incentive.
Okay.
It doesn't obligate us to anything, they're just gonna apply, I know, I'm sorry.
No, it's fine. It's
They're
fine.
gonna apply to get funds to do this incentive, to replace
Mhm.
lighting and different things, so.
Okay. All right, I'll entertain a motion to approve of the incentive plan for the senior center for electricity.
So moved.
I'll second. Any discussion?
I think it's just an application, right? It's not a.
It's, there's no
there's
commitment, it's
plan or
just an
anything.
application, exactly.
Right.
Okay.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right. You wanna read that next one?
Is this for the
The
internet?
town clerk?
Okay, just making sure I'm in the right order. Good morning, Jen and I are working on the website and intranet. One of the items we are currently working on is the people? The people. Is
Just
that-
the people that have access.
Okay.
Yeah.
Those people.
Attached are three
Yeah.
Attached are 3 documents which have all of the people added, okay, got it. All of the people added to our website with any sort of permissions. This is not the people who work or volunteer on departments, boards, or committees. With the planned intranet site, we need to give people permissions to access the intranet, and further, we want to give them the ability to update their page. My goal right now is to clean up the people with permissions. Some of these people have never even accessed the website. For example, the town administrator never logged into the website. I would like to delete M. Slazik, but keep the town administrator role with permissions. Another example is somebody else. Yep. She was on, I believe, the decorating committee, was given permissions, and now is no longer on. Next, I would like to make a policy for this going forward. The next webmaster will have a guideline to follow. Please let me know if I have your permission to move forward with this, and I will get to work on it. So, yeah,
Alright.
and then there's a list.
I'll entertain a motion to approve the town clerk's request.
So moved.
I'll second. Any discussion?
No, I
Oh,
think
to make
it's
the
great.
website more efficient.
Yeah, the website needs help, so anything we can do to improve it.
Yep, all right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right. So the comprehensive energy management plan.
I didn't print it out 'cause
Emergency.
it
Yeah, I
was
know.
80 pages, so.
It's emergency, not energy. Just
Did I put energy?
no.
Oh, okay.
He
Did I
said
say it? I
yeah.
said energy? Oh.
Yeah.
Must be tired. It's comprehensive emergency management plan.
Yes.
Do we have to vote on this tonight?
I think she's looking to get it voted on. I think they're looking for a response pretty quickly. I know she sent it out to all the, she sent it out to highway, fire, police.
Can we do it next week?
Yeah, we can do it next week if you prefer that.
It's, it looks like a template with pretty standard language. So I read through it for the most part. It seems very reasonable and so, but,
Okay. As long as it can wait till next week,
Yeah.
I'd rather do it next week.
okay.
I think next week will be the absolute deadline because I'm pretty sure April 1st they want
Okay,
the decision.
Okay,
But that's fine. Next week is 3/25, so.
okay,
Yeah.
perfect.
okay.
All right, spending requests. First one we have here is from the police department, $712.64 from the vendors Axon Enterprise, Inc., and it's to replace batteries for the tasers.
Yep.
Batteries for the tasers that the officers use needed to be replaced. They're beginning to fail their functionality, and it is a state contract, so I'll entertain a motion to approve that spending.
So moved.
I'll second. Any discussion?
No.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, next one. Police Department, $680. The vendor is Law Enforcement Dimensions, and it's for in-service and training for post-compliant internal affairs, investigations and reporting for Chief Mark Smith and Lieutenant Ryan Daly. It's a required training for post standards. Post is the governing body for law enforcement agencies in the Commonwealth. This training will bring the Chief and Ryan current in all the requirements set by the agency. Failure to be compliant could result in sanctions against the department and the town of Brookfield. I'll entertain a motion to approve that spending request.
So moved.
All right, and I'll second. Any discussion?
No.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right. All right, so this one here, let's see the amount on the, it's covered over by a,
It's a contract. There was 2 cell phones purchased
Yep.
that the town is going to pay for, but there was no.
do you have the amount on there?
Um,
Because it's covered over by the sticky.
Sorry, my sticky note on there.
Sheila, do you have the amount by any chance?
No, you guys have my document.
I have a bill here for 100 and, oh yeah, sorry, the sticky notes does go $110.95. It was to purchase and pay for 2 new cell phones. Most cell phones are covered in like a union or an employee contract, which we do not have with the fire department.
Okay.
And they're stating that town employees should not be using personal phones for town business, but there are plenty of people that do use personal cell phones for town business that do not get their cell phones covered, so just
Mm-hmm.
saying. Sorry.
Leading the witness? I'll entertain a motion to approve the $110.95 for the 2 new cell phones for the fire department.
So moved.
I'll second. Discussion?
Yes, I do think we need to, if we're gonna move forward with this, then I think we need to have a contract in place that states that this is.
Or,
you know,
or
part of-
policy.
Or a policy, exactly. So I am hesitant to approve this prior to having a discussion and then
Mhm.
having something in place.
Yeah, I think we definitely need a policy or something for that, so. All right, all in favor?
No.
No.
Do we want to add that to our agenda next week?
Yes.
Just so that, because I don't want to get too far away from, this going into delinquency.
can
or
add it.
anything.
Oh, absolutely, yeah, 'cause
Yeah.
it's already been done, so.
Right.
All right. Just Wex cards. All right,
I couldn't print anything out because it's a website, so. I sent you the
Alright.
link.
and the chief's been using them?
Mm-hmm.
Do we have any evidence on how they're working?
Yeah, absolutely. We get a statement every month. He's managed to save a few $100s. Each officer is assigned a code, and the card goes with each car. And they break it out so you can tell what, how much is used for each vehicle for each month.
So each town vehicle would get a card?
And they would be billed to the individual, like water would have to apply for themselves. And they'd get 2 cards, one for each vehicle, and you could tell how much gas they use. The only ones it really wouldn't work for would be highway and possibly fire.
Yeah.
But if fire's gonna be located here, they could probably do whatever, their diesel or whatever up here.
Right.
But it gets away from Kim now, has to go off paper, it's on your honor. People go in and write how many gallons they take.
Yeah.
And Kim's not gonna be
Yeah,
here.
there's no accurate way to
Yeah.
keep
I mean,
track of it.
this way, you've got the Gulf right over here, they're used at Gulf stations. The Mass State Police use them.
What's the school use, for their
They
get?
come down to the highway.
So they would obviously get a Wex card too?
It would be something that you'd have to have all departments to do.
Yeah.
I mean, you're not gonna even have the highway in-house to man any of it, and who's gonna be, are you gonna have highway responsible for filling this tank here, or people going down to a tank at the highway? I don't,
Yeah, all right. I'll entertain a motion to approve working out the policy for the Wex cards.
So moved.
Second, any discussion?
No, it seems really great, actually.
Mm.
Been looking through, so.
Oh, all right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Permitting software. I'd like to wait on that another week too, please,
Okay.
if you don't mind.
Midnight.
All right. So all right, change order for fire highway upgrade. That's you.
You wanna talk about the items on it?
Yeah,
Okay.
everybody needs to know.
So, we've got 4 different PCOs on here, 012 to 015. And I guess before I start, probably give you a little background to kind of understand how we got into some of the items. Obviously, I don't know how long it's been, 3 months? Feels much longer, but 3 months. Yeah, we had some issues with the fuel tank. I guess coming into the committee, we had some delays with the kitchen and mainly with the heating, getting the heating system going. And that unfortunately put the project behind substantially. And I think we've talked about this in the past, but just kind of review. you can attribute at least 8 weeks of delay time based on the owner, Town of North Brookfield's response to getting the fuel tank in place. That fuel tank connected to the oil system allowed the building to get heated and the contractor to finish their work. And by, the town essentially falling on their face, kind of put that whole project behind. And that cost, if you look at the cost between Collier's, Tecton, as well as Mumford's, you look at it about $34,000 a month. So, at that time, we're about $68,000 in the hole. Now, I'm sure at the end of this, there'll be some hemming and hawing between the contractor as to exactly how much time, but there's no doubt that at that point, 8 weeks. So, per the board's instruction, we were given a task to do some value engineering on the project, reevaluate some of the items that weren't done, that the contractor had some wiggle room to basically back out of. So we went through that process, we identified some items, and that went through the whole engineering process and put actual dollar values on it, to try to get it financially under control. Contingency from the start was just crazy low, right, from the beginning. And the Hux building, which should have been the easiest, it's the newest building, it should have been the simplest, a substantial amount of contingency funds were used up in that building. So delays, contingency funds, knowing that, we were basically moving into the older buildings and there's probably many skeletons in the closets here that we'd have to deal with, was to reevaluate and try to get some money back. PCO 12 was basically to delete alternate 1. There was a series of alternates in the contract that give us, kind of take it or leave it. And as the contract started, it was in there. Was mini piles around the what we're going to call the new apparatus building. The problem with the mini piles is that there was no evidence, engineering-wise or otherwise, that the mini piles were going to be effective. Without, the money wasn't in there to do the proper engineering, as well as other factors, to demonstrate that the 20-foot, 15-foot piles, were going to be effective. And essentially, we're left with the decision of, we don't know if there's going to be true value to the town. It's, a couple $100,000. It just doesn't make sense. The idea is great, and I certainly, there's no denying that there has been some settling of the building over the years, but, we can't be responsible for spending money without some solid evidence that the town was going to get value for it. So that was to claw that money back, which credited the account $195,650, which I do believe was the right decision. PCO 13 alternate was the elimination of the second floor kitchen in the old fire building. There is a kitchen down on the first floor, second floor. Considering the state of affairs, having 2 kitchens in one building didn't seem appropriate. We clawed that back. We got a credit of just over $33,619. And the next item was an attempt to try to cut that delay, the amount of time that we've been responsible for delay. And Randy and his crew have been fantastic in being able to move basically instantly. In that in the contract, if you look at the timeline, there was four weeks designated for Randy's move, Randy and Highway's move. Basically, for him to get the stuff up, down to the new building, kind of get settled, and then hand it over to the contractor. The contract has been very workable. very workable. And being able to kind of compromise, work with Randy as Randy, I think you guys got out in a week even before construction was over. So, there was an item in the contract that left the owner responsibility to strip out all the insulation in the building, okay? Which, the insulation is covered in, there's definitely some black mold up there. Substantial amount of work. At that point, the committee decided that we have hindered the contractor enough, and that the contractor came back with this price of $11,275 to strip the insulation out for us. Now, if you look at the time, we've already put a value of $34,000 a month of delay fees. Kind of by handing that over, I think we estimated that, we would have spent 16 grand in delay, or handed over the contractor for 11 and change, and hand the building over immediately, thus eliminating that 4-week delay time with the changeover. So, as things stand right now, we're able to claw back 4 weeks of that 8-week delay, and kind of looking forward potentially in the next changing, when the apparatus building is ready to go, hopefully we can kind of take some more from that. So, additional 11,000, but, looking at a kind of a higher level, there's some savings there. And lastly, 015, it's small charge of $263, and, this is a small charge that attributes to what they call errors and omissions. And of the overall project, the engineering and architectural firm are allowed about 1.5% of the overall cost for the project to cover errors and omissions. And basically that means it's about $85,000 of additional funds that can be pulled out of contingency to cover their mistakes that require no approval from us. Okay? And, this is probably the first. There's probably going to be another, I'm seeing another 10,000 coming shortly, which is another reason why we really needed to look at doing what we could to reduce the overall project cost. So again, $263, it's not much, but that covers the contract amendment that you see before you.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. I'll entertain a motion to approve the change orders as explained.
So moved.
Second, any discussion?
No. It was very thorough and I appreciate it.
All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
One more item.
Sure.
Okay. It was the board's request to have a 3 o'clock post-contractor meeting. Because at that time, the committee and the project had some snafus that we needed to deal with. I think we're ahead of it now. The committee is functioning and functioning well. We're kind of ahead of the project as opposed to being on defense. The 3 o'clock is, posting it, then canceling it. I think the committee's in a position now where we're pretty comfortable where we don't need 3 o'clock anymore. It would help reduce the amount of postings, and I'd like to kind of ask the board's approval to eliminate the 3 o'clock.
I'll entertain a motion to eliminate the 3 o'clock meeting for the building committee.
So moved.
Second, discussion?
No, I didn't know we needed to approve.
Well, I think we voted to have them do it, so.
Oh, okay, all right. I remember that, but.
Yeah.
Yep.
And that's just so they had an opportunity to, if something came up in one of the contractor meetings, they could have a committee meeting ready to go, so they wouldn't have to wait,
Right, now I remember.
And then potentially
Okay.
getting the
It was
issue
just
with
getting ahead
open
of
meeting
the-
law with the contractor meetings.
Okay,
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
You're welcome. All right, so, and then we have David Marr. Question on the ballot.
He's not here.
I can put it on for next week, but he wants to put a question on the special town meeting ballot to ban non-reusable bags. If you look through the email chain, Tara explains how to do that. The first step is that the board puts it on the warrant. If the board doesn't want to do that, then he can do a citizen's petition. Or not, I'm sorry, not the warrant, the ballot.
Right, we can, look at it again next week.
Okay.
All right, anything else?
No, I don't have anything.
All right, so this is an off night, we don't have the public comment period listed, but, we'll do it anyway. Not you. Mr. Tripp, go ahead.
I have a hypothetical question. It's actually 4 questions.
I don't know if I'm gonna deal in hypothetics, John.
If you can, you should be able to answer these questions. If I want to open a smoke shop in the town of North Brookfield, what's the smoking age and who can I sell to? 21,
Okay,
smoking age. Can I sell flavored cigarettes?
No, you cannot.
State of Mass. No, you can't. Can I sell flavored vape products?
I think that's the Board of Health's purview.
You can't. In Massachusetts, you can't. They banned all that flavored stuff. So I've heard from a number of people in town that these things are being sold over the counter, and they're being sold to minors.
okay.
So who would
Who would you complain to?
who would you complain to, and who would be the one that would go in and notice this happening? I don't know if you'd have to do a sting, or if the police would do it, or the
It would be a
FDA.
state level thing.
Yeah,
The FDA?
It would be a state level thing, it wouldn't be a town level thing. I think the first line of defense is talking to the Board of Health. Because they're the ones that issue the tobacco permits.
yeah, and I think it would be similar to someone selling alcohol to a minor.
Yeah, it has
Correct.
nothing to do with the town.
So it's that, yeah, that would be a state
Mhm.
issue.
So is the Board of Health gonna be able to do anything to enforce it or not? 'Cause
I don't know.
It's the state that enforces it, the Board of Health probably just issues the permits.
Yeah,
Right.
And then the state will tell the Board of Health if they're not,
And-
if they're
and-
no longer eligible for a permit.
I've
yeah,
had
you'd have to,
7
you'd have to
people
go
bring
to,
this
you'd
up
have to go to the Board of Health and ask them.
Yeah. I've had 7 people come up and ask me about, and I'm not on the board anymore, but I wanted to be, it's on camera now, it's in the minutes that I've said it, so maybe these people that are doing it, if they are, watch the movie here and pay attention and stop doing it, because we all know smoking is not good for you, and the vaping is
John
as
Tripp
bad,
is
if
the
not
Surgeon
worse.
General now.
Huh?
So John Tripp is the Surgeon General now.
Never smoked
Okay.
in my life, don't want to.
All right.
My father died because of cigarettes, so.
What else?
See, it's still, is this a 2-minute
Well-
time?
Yeah,
I have something for the 2-minute time.
okay.
The town has been functioning for the past 2 years, several months throughout the year, minus 1 select board member. For several months, and it's happened, and who knows, it can
We've
happen
had
in the future.
3 occasions in the last 2 years?
Last
3 years?
4 years.
So I have two thoughts. Has the town, and I know that it has to interfere with, I know it does, because we had to postpone something because somebody, one of you was out of town. And now tonight Joe was supposed to be here and he couldn't, and whatever. There's been things that, because we lacked 3 members of the school, on the Board of Selectmen, we couldn't function as we should. And I'm just asking, have we ever thought about a 5-board member, select board member?
I think that's based on population.
Oh, I don't, okay, I don't know, all
I
right.
used to have a 5-member board, I think in the past it was 5.
I don't think so.
I
I
think
think
it is,
it's based on population.
so that would be like a
For
council.
historical person.
Yeah, Spencer has 5, but they're like 15,000 people,
Okay,
so.
so I don't know where that stands, but that was my question. And if you can't do that, is there some way that something could be done so that you could get elect somebody for that time frame? I mean, from December, I don't know when Vaughn left, but let's just say it was December.
We'd have to have a
December
special election.
A special
And the
election?
reason we didn't do that is because we were getting close to May, within a couple months, and it would have cost us money
And that seat would have only
Both
been
scenarios.
filled
Yeah.
until the election.
until the election.
Yeah.
So that person would have run and essentially held that seat for maybe 2 to 3 months.
Yeah, and you know what, I get that.
But it costs the town money to do a special election because we have to pay the poll workers and all that stuff.
I understand, but we have
Okay.
I'm just,
Kathy, hold on.
that, to me, we have a lot of
Sheila?
special elections.
I think you also still have to abide by the
Town bylaws.
nomination
Yes.
forms. You have to
Right, you still have to,
state them as so long, you know, they have to be out there, and then you have to give so long for them to come back.
Yeah.
It's a 65-day period, I believe, from
Yeah.
start to finish, from like beginning to the
Yeah.
election.
So when we've had resignations, it's been within 6 months of a town election, so it doesn't make a lot of sense to have a special town election
Yeah.
to fill a seat that's only gonna be filled for, 60 to 90 days, you know, depending on how long, because then the board has to vote, and then it's 45 days from then when you can set it, and, you know, it's time constraints essentially,
Mhm.
yeah.
all right, anybody else? Bill?
Well, I'm sorry.
Just a quick
Got a
question about the
turn.
status of the woodland cutting project between Hillside and North Main Street,
We're working on it. We're investigating.
investigating.
Yeah, I have nothing to say about that right now. Kathy?
I am not running for town moderator, but I just wanted to make you aware, if that
You sound like
position.
it.
No, I'm not. That position is open, when it comes town meeting time, I would be willing to step in and run a town meeting.
Thank you. All right. One more. Anybody? Sheila?
On the cleaning, what is the effective date on that?
I was gonna ask you guys, because
And what's your funding source?
Well, Parks and Rec.
Want to use the Parks and Rec vehicle also?
When,
I don't have an answer for you.
which budget did the cleaning come out of prior to this
it's a
one?
payroll, so
Payroll.
it, we
Okay, so
take a
this
town
must be
meeting
different.
vote to
Yeah.
transfer those funds, and you have to terminate annually, which is more complicated than a decision we can make right after.
Gotcha, okay. All right.
All right, to be determined.
Oh, good to know.
All right. Anybody else? All right, so we have a 7:15 executive session. So I will entertain a motion to recess until 7:15, and then we will go into executive session, and we will exit executive session only to adjourn. I'll entertain that motion.
So moved.
Second? All in favor?
You
All
wanna
in
do it?
favor?
Oh,
We'll
aye.
do- We're going just recessing. We'll
Just
do-
recess.
We gotta,
Okay.
yeah, we gotta do the
Aye.
thing, so.
And when